It's a backyard brawl under the Friday night lights of the WVU Coliseum as West Virginia returns home to take on Texas Women's and arch rival Pitt. Glad you've joined us for NCAA Gymnastics on Big 12 Now on ESPN Plus. Wherever you are tonight, my name is Michael Minnick. Glad to be joined by former West Virginia gymnast Julia Merwin. Julia, you've competed in this rivalry. What's it like, West Virginia against Pitt?
It's a whole lot of fun. It's an easy trip for both teams, whether we're here or there. And it's kind of just friendly competition at this point. A lot of the gymnasts know each other either from club or just competing against each other a ton over the years. So it is a lot of fun. West
Virginia made that short trip last weekend to Pitt, beat the Panthers as well as NC State and Alaska Anchorage with a season best score of 195.925. You were there. What stuck out about WVU's performance that day?
They just seemed to be very confident, and they did win by a hair. So hoping to just kind of improve upon that score again tonight.
Pitt would love to turn the tables, return the favor, come into the Coliseum and beat West Virginia. What stuck out about their performance last week at home?
They have a superstar freshman, Hallie Copperwheat. She is definitely one to watch, and she was definitely the standout of Sunday's meet.
This Texas women's team comes in Division II program, but they're a good one. 59th overall in the country in the Road to Nationals rankings, and top 50 on the vault and the floor. Actually, all three of these schools, their best event in terms of rankings is the floor exercise.
Yeah, floor is definitely going to be a fun one to watch, and even Texas women's vaults looked really good in warm-up.
West Virginia will begin on the vaults, and a big change from last week. Abby Pearson out injured, so we'll see the freshman Heidi Hardage step into that anchor position on the vault.
Yeah, very excited for that freshman to make her debut. Her vault was huge in warm-up.
Pitt will begin on the bars, Texas women's on the beam tonight, so chance for both teams to kind of get their feet wet in this meet. Mountaineers back home for the second time this season after a couple road trips. We'll talk about last weekend's road trip and what happened and what didn't happen for them later on in the broadcast. Mountaineers will begin with Kiana Yancey on the vault. Beth Lazarus will be in the leadout spot for Texas women's. Olivia Miller will start things for Pitt. Touch has begun here. Let's talk a bit about Kiana Yancey coming off her best vault of the season, a 9.8, just 0.25 away from her career best.
Kiana is consistent. I feel like that's the best word to describe her vault. It looks pretty darn similar every single time, and it's beautiful because she is so tall. Just the long lines and being able to twist that Yurchenko full so beautifully is very impressive.
We were talking to West Virginia coach Jason Butts as well as all three coaches. Hard to believe we're at the midway point really of the season. These teams have already accomplished so much, but then also so much in front of them. At this point in the season, I'm sure it's a mix of fatigue as well as excitement to be back home.
Oh, for sure. But something about being in the Coliseum, you just get like a whole new sense of adrenaline. It's just a blast.
Really nice crowd here. You know Pitt's going to travel well coming to the I-79 Mountaineers attending 100 Friday night, and I saw several heads of Texas women's gymnasts as well. So all three schools will represented here at the Coliseum.
Yes, 3 teams equals more fans.
And we'll be able to show you all three on our stream. We'll go split screen so you can watch your favorite gymnast, your favorite team can be here at the Coliseum. We talked a bit about West Virginia's road trip. They did very well against Pitt. They were supposed to go to Arkansas on Friday, but then the weather got in the way. How tough is that when you are on a plane, literally on a plane, going somewhere ready to compete, and then kind of the rug gets taken out from underneath you?
Yeah, I mean, they were stuck on the plane for 3 hours, ended up, I believe, staying over in Pittsburgh, then making the bus trip back to Morgantown the next morning because they couldn't make it. And it's just a whole lot of change of plans, but all the coaches this season have talked about how flexible the pandemic has made these gymnasts and these teams, and they just kind of learn how to roll with the punches.
The only bad part of that is for West Virginia, they really scheduled tough this year. Couldn't go to LSU because of COVID protocols, and then they lose another trip to SEC school in Arkansas, but still plenty of challenging trips. They'll face Michigan, the defending national champions, later this year.
Yeah, they even added a meet on, I believe, the 19th, and that'll make it so they have 3 meets within 6 days.
They'll go to Towson for that, and that's important because you're trying to get that national qualifying score, get into the NCAAs. The more meets, the more you can compete, the better off you're going to be because you're going to have that mulligan in case you have a bad day.
Exactly. They had to get another meet in the schedule, and that was the one that worked.
West Virginia had a little bit of a bad rotation their very first meet, but I'm sure Jason Butts is knocking wood right now. They've been consistently good since then. And I think we've seen the growth from last year where it was an abbreviated season, only had duels against Big 12 competition and this Pitt team. They've been able to compete a lot more normally this year.
Yeah, for sure. That steady growth is what we want.
Less than a minute to go before we begin here at the Coliseum. You can feel the energy ramping up here in the building. Videos being played, and it's a good turnout here at the Coliseum, as we said. Got to see some elementary school students introduce all the Mountaineer gymnasts. That was pretty neat. Pre-taped videos of them, and a lot of them are sitting in the student section right now, I believe, front and center for the 4 exercise and the uneven bars. This last couple seconds when you're warming up before your very first event, what's going through your mind right now as a gymnast?
You're very amped up, but at the same time, you're like, I need to calm down so I can do my gymnastics. It's a little mix of everything.
And I'm sure at home that's even more of a challenge. Like, you're excited, you're at home, your friends and your family are here, but you also have to make sure you can kind of control your breathing. Don't do anything too crazy.
Yeah, a lot of fun, but you got to get the job done.
One final look at the pit huddle here before the uneven bars. Judge is about to take control of this one. Again, it'll be Yancey leading off for West Virginia on the vaults. Lazarus will be the first vaulter when Texas Women's comes around. They'll begin on the beam with Emily 6. And on the bars, it'll be Kaylee Jillings starting for Pitt. So Yancey for West Virginia, Jillings for Pitt, 6 on beam for Texas Women's. Mountaineers in their final huddle. The rest of the team that's not competing on this event, getting some water, getting a little bit of dance in, getting kind of loose themselves as well for the beginning of competition here from the Coliseum. Jason Bunce there, final instructions for Kiana Yancey. Same thing before the beam for Emily 6 and Texas Women's, their coach. Lisa Bowerman.
Katie Jillings has been doing a beautiful bar routine over for Pitt. Gorgeous lines. Nice handstand on high bar.
Yancey off for West Virginia.
Great vault for Yancey, just a slight hop back. Beautiful in the air. And a great leadoff bar routine for Pitt.
Again, coming off her best vault of the year, the 9.8 at Pitt last week for Kiana Yancey, trying to chase that 9.825, her career best.
Just had a beautiful stuck handspring layout series for Texas Women's on beam.
Emily 6 there, you see the replay of that. As well as the replay of Kiana Yancey's opening vault for West Virginia. Kendra Combs in the second spot for Jason Butt's Mountaineers. She also had her season best at Pitt, a 9.775 in this event to match her career high.
Just the dismount left on beam for Emily 6. Round off 1.5. Team is super excited about that one. Great lead off.
Emily 6, season best, a 9.725 at home against, yes, Pitt. These teams have seen each other quite a bit. Mountaineers will see Pitt again this year for a 3rd time. They also competed 3 times last year. Mountaineers taking 2 out of 3 after dropping the first meet. Kendra Combs is ready on the vault for West Virginia.
So she does a front pike. Super powerful.
9.675 the score for Jillings and Pitt.
Beautiful vault from Kendra. Just that slight step forward. I think that was the most controlled one she's done. We got a 9.8 for Kiana Yancey.
I was just going to say, building on the 9.8 from Yancey to match her season best. 9.675, the score being shown across from us for the uneven bars.
Beautiful piked Jaeger. Nice Nice clear hip handstand on bars, right into that shoot over handstand.
This is Jordan Ewing competing for the Panthers.
Line full, right into a double tuck. Got some distance on that double tuck, but pulled out that stuck landing.
So a moment of quiet here, all three teams between gymnasts. West Virginia will send Brooke Albin up third to vault. She's vaulted all year, and it's sounding a broken record already, coming off a season best. She had a 9.8 against Pitt. Obviously a career best for the freshman from Urbana, Maryland. Daisy Woodring on the beam for Texas Women's.
Handspring layout series.
9.725 was the leadoff score from Emily Six on the beam for Texas Women's. Score's about to go up for Kendra Combs on the vault for West Virginia.
Nice front toss on beam. Got Brooke on vault, Shazierchenko full. Nice landing. Just the tiniest little step. Super clean.
A 9.775 for Kendra Combs in front of her. So a 9.8 and a 9.775 for West Virginia. A 9.8 for Jordan Ewing on the bars for Pitt. So the Panthers off to a solid start as well, as they will send their third gymnast up. That's Erin Hutchison.
Tiny bit short on that first handstand, but right into a blind. Big straddle Jaeger. A little short on that handstand as well. Beautiful shoot over. Nice handstand on high. Nice dismount. She knew exactly where that landing was, opened up at the right time. Double Arabian.
You've gone through this competing at Pitt for West Virginia. I'm sure Pitt, the opposite is true. When you competed somewhere, even on the road a couple of times, how much does that help you in terms of sight lines, what you're used to?
I always really enjoyed competing at Pitt because it almost felt like a second home me, just because we competed there so much. You eventually get super comfortable there and you get really used to their equipment.
9.65 for Daisy Woodring, the second Texas women's competitor on the beam, getting ready to send their third up. That's Kyla Podges.
Brooke Albin got a new career high, 9.825.
So announcers building scores, 9.775, a 9.8, and a 9.825 halfway through this rotation for the Mountaineers.
Kiana Lewis does another Yurchenko full. Beautiful. She knows exactly where that landing is every single time.
Coming off a pair of 9.825s on the vault, Kiana Lewis at Iowa State and at Pitt.
She's also someone who's very consistent.
12 career podium finishes, 5 have come on this event, the vaults. High five with Jason Butts. We'll take a second look at that vault.
Got Katie Chamberlain on bars for Pitt. Huge straddle Jaeger. Nice shoot over handstand. Another beautiful handstand on that high bar. And a full in dismount, slight step backwards. That was a great routine for Katie Chamberlain.
I think all three teams have been very happy with their performances so far, Julia.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of energy in the Coliseum tonight.
Hutchison with a 9.725, the third gymnast to compete, and then more celebrations from Texas Women's after that beam dismount from Kyla Podges.
Yep, piked gainer immediately into a celebration.
Do you get extra points if you
I wish.
stick the landing and celebrate? Rachel Hornan waiting to vault for West Virginia. Still deliberating over Kiana Lewis's score in front of her for the Mountaineers. Mountaineers are cheering that score. We can't see it yet, but they seem happy with it.
Nice Yurchenko full for Rachel.
It's a 9.85 for Kiana Lewis. So you're in a position right now with 2 gymnasts to go where your worst score is a 9.775. That's what West Virginia wants.
Not a bad place to be. Beautiful Shapash half on bars and that dismount double tuck with a stuck landing. That was a beautiful bar routine for Pitt. Here's another look at Rachel's vault. Beautiful in the air. Chest was up on that landing.
9.8 for Chamberlain for Pitt, a 9.8 for Podges for Texas Women's. Madeline Gosset on the beam right now.
Next on vault for West Virginia, we have Heidi Hartje. This is going to be her freshman debut. Beautiful triple series on beam. Nice leap connection. Round off 1.5 stuck landing. Texas Women's is having an amazing time on beam. Over on bars for Pitt, we have Hallie.
They didn't look like the 63rd best team in the country on beam. They looked very good in that first rotation.
I agree. So far, Hallie's routine has been beautiful. Another full in dismount with a stuck landing. It's going to be a big score for Pitt.
The freshman won all 4 individual titles in the quad last weekend.
We got Heidi on vault. Big Yurchenko full. Step back, but that was a great debut for that freshman. Huge potential in that vault for sure.
It's pressure no matter what your first time, but how much less pressure is it when you know that you've had 5 good scores in front of you?
Oh, so much less. So much less pressure. But that was a great job for Heidi.
Mountaineers at worst are going to get a 49 on the vault. Just short of their season best, 49.125. But we'll see what Heidi's score is. That could bump it up a little bit. But came in 31st in the country. This is their 2nd best event. So the Mountaineers are done. Still work to do for Texas Women's. 9.75, their latest score. Being shown for Mackenzie Koonsman. This is Steely King competing. 9.825 to close out the rotation for Copperweed and Pitt. Panthers with a 48.925 on the bars.
And Heidi's vault score came in at a 9.8. What a way to debut.
So you can drop a 9.775. That's a great rotation for West Virginia.
Yes, it is. Beautiful series on beam. Handspring without step out.
So the Mountaineers basically, give or take, 0.15 above what their average has been on the vault this year.
Just a nice front tuck on beam. You don't see those too often. Beautiful split positions in the air.
Pitt entered with an average on bars of 48.531. They beat it with a 48.925.
Round off 1.5. Great landing. That was a great beam rotation for Texas Women's.
Still one gymnast to go. See Madeline Gosset compete last. Look at that dismount again.
The smallest little step back.
Love the reaction from her teammates there as she came down. So we talked earlier, Julia, about a lot of these teams doing duels last year. This is a little bit of a different time management thing, right, with 3 or 4 teams where you do have a little bit more of a gap between rotations. But I guess the trade-off is you're also not alternating. So how does that maybe affect you if you're Pitt or Western where you have to kind of sit a little bit right now?
I honestly prefer it this way because, yeah, you do have a little bit more free time, but you can at least watch the other girls or kind of get ready for that next event. Like if you watch Pitt, they're kind of warming up for their next event, which is beam. And it's also just kind of time to have a little bit of fun with your team if you do have extra free time like West Virginia on the vault.
9.775 the score for Steely King on the beam. Just waiting Gosei here to complete this first rotation. So Pitt dropped a 9.675. That was their 6th score on bars, which again is a solid score to drop. Texas Women's right now looking at a 9.65 as their lowest score. Gosei still playing the waiting game for her beam rotation. Gosei coming in, has a 9.825 on beam this year. She had a 9.925 at their conference championships last year. Just a freshman, she was the national champion at the D2 level in the vault with a career best 9.8625.
Big score potential.
Has to be tough right now to keep your focus for this long and not have your mind kind of wander on to other things. Get some extra chalk. If you take a look at scores for Western Pitt, they've already got their first rotation in the bag and a good one as well. Mount Senior's just missing the season high. Pitt as well, just 0.025 away from matching their season best on bars. Judges still deliberating on the beam. .775 is what's being shown right now. Walking in the score, that's for King, so we still are just now getting King's score, which was correct. That's what they had on the board. So I'm not really sure why there was a delay there. Finally, underway with Madeline Gosei to close out this first rotation for Texas Women's.
Nice full turn. Handspring, a layout, step out, nailed it. Nice, switch leap, switch half, very challenging leap series. Fish kick, side aerial. Round off 1.5 dismount with that stuck landing.
So, Julie, we talked about it earlier. All three of these teams are best on the floor. That was the one thing we didn't see on this rotation, but yet all three teams able to really put up good scores.
Yeah, that was a great first rotation from all three teams, and I'm excited for a team to get to floor next.
We'll be back with Gosse's score. We'll set you up for the second rotation as Texas Women's will move to the floor exercise. West Virginia getting their turn on the bars, and Pitt moving to the beam. Back here from the Coliseum after this, you're watching NCAA Gymnastics on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Stay with us. Here at the WVU Coliseum, and Julia Merwin, it's tight. West Virginia leading 49.1, and then Texas Women's in second, 48.975. Pitt in third, 48.925. We were talking during the break about that rotation for Texas Women's. Their previous season high on the beam was 48.4, so they beat that by nearly 0.6, which is a huge difference.
Yeah, that is a huge improvement. That was a great rotation for all three, and I'm kind of excited that it's so close. It makes it more fun.
Well, and as we talked about before the break, now Texas Women's is going on to their best event. That's the floor. They're ranked 44th in the nation. West Virginia moves to the bars. That's their weakest event, 49th in the nation, average of 48.331. Pitt's on the beam. That's their third best rotation, 46th in the country. So if I'm Texas Women's, I'm looking at this and saying, this might be a chance for us to cut into that lead or even take the lead halfway through if they have a good rotation on the floor.
Yeah, I'm hoping all of these teams just keep giving their best effort and doing their best gymnastics, because it'd be really cool to see all three teams hit all of their routines and just have an amazing night.
And of course, the trump card for West Virginia, 13th in the nation on the floor. That would be the final rotation, but we're getting our heads ahead of ourselves a little bit. Still 3 rotations to go here in this one. So the second rotation, Mountaineers on the bars.
We got
We'll
Esperanza.
Yep, Esperanza Abarca.
Blind full. Right into that Ginger. Beautiful like always. So good at hitting her handstands. Nice shoot over down to the low bar. Beautiful handstand. Fell over on that blind full. Very uncharacteristic of her.
So sometimes we see gymnasts kind of take a breath here like Esperanza is, but we see them get right back up. You've seen Esperanza a lot in the gym. You know, what is she kind of maybe thinking at this point after that mistake?
Knowing Esperanza, she's probably so extremely surprised and shocked. I don't know if I've ever even seen her do that, but beautiful little recovery right there. Blindfold, double back dismount. She's probably so shocked right now.
So we've talked throughout our broadcasts about Abarca kind of being that rock to start the rotation. Now with her struggle, how does that kind of change the mindset of the next 5, or does it? Or do you kind of have to keep the same mindset if you're West Virginia?
I mean, you want to keep the same mindset just to kind of stay calm, but it definitely does add some pressure knowing you have to hit if you want to count 5 made routines.
Look there again at Esperanza Abarca's dismounts. Leading off on the beam for Pitt is Katie Chamberlain. We saw her in the uneven bars as well.
Front 1.5 over there on the floor.
Dami Bonzani competing for Texas Women's. And the dismount there on the beam for Pitt.
Stuck landing. Great way to start off that rotation.
Chamberlain. High fives for everybody on that Pitt sideline. A 9 for Abarca. So that'll be for West Virginia wants to get rid of. They want 5 solid rotations, 5 stuck landings behind Esperanza Abarca.
Got Rachel up next, that little switch grip. Right into a straddle Jaeger, beautiful. Beautiful shoot over handstand down to low bar. tiny bit short on that handstand. Clean lines though. Double tuck dismount. Slight step backwards, but her chest was up. She knew where that landing was. Great way to kind of come back after Esperanza's routine.
That's why it's nice to have a veteran in that second spot, too.
Yes.
Bounce back for Hornan in West Virginia. Katie Chamberlain led out with a 9.775 on the beam for the Pitt Panthers. As you take another look at Hornan's dismount for West Virginia.
Beautiful double tuck.
Second on the floor for Texas Women's will be Alexandra Pierce. Second on the bars, second on the beam for Pitt will be Sydney Washington here.
Handspring, 2-foot layout on beam. Did touch the beam, so that does count as a fall. We got Anna Lee on bars, beautiful handstand. The line change into that piked Jaeger. So piked Jaeger is more bonus than a straddled Jaeger. Nice pack down to the low bar. And a big double layout dismount. Small little step, but once again, great routine.
A 9.725 for Rachel Hornan in front of Anna Lee, and then just saw Washington come off the beam for Pitt. She's back on.
Fell on that front toss.
So after a really good first rotation, West Virginia's now had a mistake and Pitt's had a mistake. We talked about this door to kind of be open for Texas Women's. It's really open now for them to try and take the lead.
Slight little stumble back on that second pass on floor, but found her feet.
Alexander Pierce wrapping up on the floor for Texas Women's. 4 competitors to go for them. Mara Johnson will be next. Mountaineers will turn to Kiana Yancey next on the bars. 9.8. The score being shown for Anna Lee in front of her. Up goes Kiana Yancey.
Beautiful pack.
Lanzani with a 9.725 on the floor to lead out for Texas Women's.
Perfect Shaposh half. Just a tiny bit short on these handstands, but these releases are literally textbook perfect. And a stuck huge double layout dismount. That is going to be a huge score for West Virginia on the bars.
So Yancey started the vault well for the Mountaineers. Really good job in that 4th spot on the bars.
She is consistent.
Yancey coming off a 9.8. Her last 2 meets had a 9.85 back at the Coliseum last time we were here against Denver.
I think she's going to beat it.
(8-9) the score for Washington, so that will be the one that Pitt would like to drop out of the 6. Pierce with a 9.6 on the floor for Texas Women's.
First pass, double pike. Nice landing.
Mara Johnson competing on the floor exercise.
Getting ready for her second pass. Back 1.5, front full, great landing.
9.875 the score for Yancey. That ties her career high and sets a new season high.
Got Kendra Combs up next on bars. Shaposh, beautiful. Right down into that pack. Super floaty, perfect pirouette. Nice handstand on high. Right into that blind full. And a stuck double tuck. Beautiful routine for Kendra. This is going to be another big score. That floor routine just ended with a Rudy, or a front 1.5.
So after some pickups, both these teams are back to doing some great gymnastics here in the second rotation.
Yes, they are. You can feel the momentum building. Nice full turn on beam.
Great reaction there once again from Kendra Combs in the 5th spot for West Virginia on the bars, awaiting her score. 9.85 is what the far side judge is showing.
Beautiful series there for Pitt. Front toss into a back handspring step out. .9875 for Kendra.
And that is a new career best for her on the uneven bars, breaking a 9.85.
We got Brooke Albin competing, just caught her Ginger. Nice shoot over handstand. So much control.
Talia Robotin finishing up on the beam for Pitts.
Nice handstand on high for Brooke. And a big double layout dismount with a stuck landing.
Pitt celebrating as well after Robotin's dismount on the beam. Powerful high fives being given out, hugs as well for the Pitt gymnast in the 3rd spot in their lineup here on beam.
Big double pike there on floor. I still can't get over Brooke's dismount. Like, that bar rotation was something else.
It's another look at it.
Huge height, perfect landing, chest was up. Love that celebration.
A 9.9 being shown by the far judge for that uneven bars rotation.
For the freshman Brooke. It's going to be another 9.875.
So 3 straight career highs or tie career highs. It's really the second time she's competed on the bars in her college career. You would not know it from that rotation.
Yeah, that was big.
And again, we talked about it earlier. To do this without Abby Pearson in the lineup, extra important for West Virginia to put those high scores up from some of their younger gymnasts.
For sure.
9.775 the score from Mara Johnson on the floor for Texas Women's. This is their 4th competitor, Sierra Munns, competing now.
Just stepped out of bounds on that last pass there, but overall super powerful.
.982.5 the score on beam for Pitt's Robotin. We'll see Kaylee Gillings compete next. So now for West Virginia, it's a chance to get that bad taste out of their mouth. They dropped the 9 from Abarca, a 49.15 in that rotation for the Mountaineers. And that is their season best by quite a bit. Their season best before today was a 48.85.
Yeah, that was a huge bar rotation. Beautiful full turn on beam.
Jason Butts told us that 196 is within reach for this team. Through 2 rotations, they are more than on pace for that. Fall there on the beam for Pitt.
Yeah, just came off on that series, handspring layout, step out.
And they've already got an 8.9, so they're going to have to keep a score they do not want to keep in this rotation. .9675 the score for Munns, who went 4th for Texas Women's on the floor. Now here's Madeline Gosset, who had such a fantastic into her beam rotation to start things off for Texas Women's.
First pass. Huge double pike. A Over on the beam, we have a side aerial tucked full. Looked like her foot kind of slipped off the end of the beam there. Her hands hit on the landing mat.
So Jillings having to count a fall. We'll see how low that score is. Again, Washington had the 8-9. That's the low score right now for the Panthers.
Going into her last pass here on floor. Front 1.5. That was huge. Lots of height. This is a great routine for Texas Women's. Lots of power.
Gosay, a finalist at Nationals in the Division II level on the floor last year, has a 9.825 as her season high. Had a 9.9 at Nationals last year on the floor. West Virginia with a 98.25 through 2 rotations. And the 8-9 for Pitt is the one they're going to have to keep right now, because an 8.55 was the score there for Jillings. So now Ewing to go, and then their star freshman from England, Copperwheat, to finish off. She won this event at Pitt. She won all the events at Pitt last Sunday.
Definitely some pressure on these last two competitors.
Texas Women's with a 9.875 being posted there for Gosay. So Isabel Goyko's in a good position. If she can beat a 9.6, then she can boost that score even more. Right now it's a 97.625 for Texas Women's, which puts them second behind West Virginia. But again, they have a little bit of upside here if they can get a good routine to finish up on the floor from Isabel Goyko.
Nice full turn on beam.
Goyko, an All-American at the D2 level last year on the floor and the beam.
Front aerial, back handspring step out series.
Jordan Ewing for the Panthers.
First pass here on floor. Big double pike, great landing. Very controlled lunge. Switch side, Popa. And a nice dismount from Pitt. Second pass here on floor. Front layout, front full. A little bit of soft knees on that front full, but found the ground. Nice landing. It's a fun routine. The whole team's getting into it. Last pass. Big double tuck. So much amplitude on that pass.
Something that Texas women's coach Lisa Bowerman talked to us about was the variety of music, variety of routines for this Texas women's team. They've now completed 2 pretty good rotations here at the Coliseum.
Yeah, that was a great routine.
So with the score for Goyko, one final gymnast left on the balance beam for Pitt. It's Hallie Copperwheat. Pretty big discrepancy between scores here on the beam. We saw a 9.85 and a 9.65 from the two judges. That'll meet in the middle with a 9.75. Still a good score, but it's rare you see that much of a discrepancy, right? Between a 9.85 and a 9.65.
It happens. I mean, sometimes they kind of differentiate on what the start value is, and that's when they kind of get together, talk for a little bit. But 1 to 2 tenths is somewhat normal.
Holly Copperwheats finishing off the second rotation on the beam for Pitt, a 9.75 by Ewing.
Switch lead, split jump, nice position in the air. Side semi.
That score for Pitt's going to go way up, assuming Copperwheat can complete this rotation. As right now they're counting 2 sub-9 scores. They'll drop one of them if Copperwheat can do her thing.
Handspring without step out, nice landing. Looking very confident. Full turn. Side aerial.
Goico with a 9.825 to wrap for Texas Women. So their score is current 97.625.
They're having a great night. Round off 1.5. Great landing. It's a good way to end that beam rotation for Pitt.
So high fives for Hallie Copperwheat, the star freshman from England for the Pitt Panthers. Another look there at that dismount.
Nice round off 1.5.
Time flies, we're having fun. We're halfway done here at the Coliseum. 2 rotations in the books. 2 rotations to go here at the WVU Coliseum. West Virginia with the lead. We'll update you on Pitt's score as well as Texas Women's. After this break, you're listening and watching NCAA Gymnastics on Big 12 now on ESPN+. We'll be back right after this at the Coliseum.
All right, fans, it's the third rotation. That means the Mountaineers are on balance beam.
Welcome back to the WVU Coliseum. Michael Minek alongside Julia Merman. West Virginia off to a really great start, Julia. 98.25 on pace for that 196 that Jason Butts and company have been searching for. Texas Women's have had a great meet. 97.85 there in second, and Pitt really hampered by the 2 falls on beam in third at 97.025.
First vault up now for Texas Women's. Nice, Yurchenko full. A few steps backwards, but pretty clean in the air.
Beth Lazarus coming off a 9.8 on beam last week, 9.75 on vault. She missed all of last year due to injury. So really good to see her not only back, but competing very well for Texas Women's.
For sure.
So she went off on vault. Mountaineers will be on the beam. Agava Handono has really done a great job in this leadoff spot for Jason Butts this year. And on the floor, we'll see Pitt. Olivia Miller will be their first competitor. West Virginia with their best bars routine as a team. They came in with a 48.85 as their best, shattered that with a 49.15, so a 0.3 improvement off their season best. Trying to keep it rolling here with Hondono on the beam.
I love her mount. Handspring layout step out. Slight little wobble, stayed on though. Nice, Yurchenko full on the vault.
We were saying before the broadcast, playing Sweet Caroline at the Coliseum is a dicey proposition, but it is part of this 4 music routine for Pitt's Olivia Miller.
First pass here on floor for Olivia. Big double tuck. A little bit soft on that landing, but found that lunge.
9.65 the score for Lazarus, leading off on the vault for Texas Women's.
Nice front toss for Agatha on beam. Second pass for Olivia was a front layout, front full into that stag jump. Nice control. Beautiful leap back over on beam. Dismount for Agatha with that stuck landing. Great way to lead off beam.
Great bounce back as well from a 9.45 at Pitt on Sunday.
Yes, and that was a great routine for Olivia Miller. She ended with that double pike.
So we talked about what West Virginia did on the bars today, where Abarca led off with a low score. Experience from last week. Hondono had a lower score on the beam to lean up. Mount Pierce responded well, won that meet.
Yep. Just got to keep building.
Rachel Hornan up second for West Virginia on the beam. Waiting for the score from Agatha Hondono to go up so she can compete. Hondono with a 9.8 to lead off on the beam. That is her season and career high, being a 9.725. It's always good when you're seeing season highs, career highs getting bested at the middle point of the season, not the end of the season.
Oh, for sure. Got to peak at the right time.
Here's Rachel Hornan.
Nice wolf turn, add some difficulty.
Kylie Robotin up second on the floor for the Pitt Panthers.
Front aerial for Rachel. Right into a one-arm back handspring, kind of danced out of that one, made it work. Another big Yurchenko full on vault for Texas women's. Great landing, chest was up. Beautiful leap from Rachel. Big double tuck on floor. Kind of stumbled a little bit on that landing, but I think she was able to stay in bounds. Just the dismount left here for Rachel. Round off 1.5, slight step forward, but great routine.
Miller led off with a 9.8 on the floor for Pitt. Robotin trying to add to that for the Panthers. 9.775 for Mara Johnson. She was the second vaulter for Texas Women's. We just saw Daisy Woodring compete for them.
Getting ready for the second pass on floor.
Again, this is Robotin.
Front full, front layout, great landing. Nice combo pass there.
Big hugs for Kylie Robotin. Just so much more fun to do the floor when there's a crowd.
For sure. That was just another huge Yurchenko full for Texas Women's. They're on fire tonight. And Rachel Hornung's beam scores in at a 9.85.
9.825 for Woodring on the third vault for Texas Women's, and they had just had a really nice one, as you said.
Yes.
Coming from Gosei, who's had a great meet.
He's beautiful. She has so much power. We got Kendra Combs up next on beam.
Combs has been excellent this year on beam. 9.825, 9.775, 9.85, 9.825, her 4 scores so far this year.
Hoping to build on that today. Front aerial, stayed on the beam. Full turn. Looking a little bit nervous, just gotta calm down here. Nice switch half, beautiful splits in the air. Switch side, sorry. Front toss.
Gosei with a 9.775 for Texas Women's, their 4th vaulter, and their 5th one just went off. That was Sierra Munns.
Front handspring, back tuck, beautiful stuck landing for that series for Kendra.
Julia, you talked about Robotin possibly going out of bounds. It was like she did. A 9.55 her score on the floor for Pitt.
Kendra stuck that landing. So a few wobbles, but she really made up for it in the end with that stuck series and stuck dismount.
Aaron Hutchison third for Pitt on the floor. Another look at the dismount there from Kendra Combs for West Virginia. Kiana Lewis is on deck for the Mountaineers.
Just had a huge front double twist on floor for her first pass for Pitt.
Hutchison. (9-7) is the score for Munns on vaults for Texas Women's. So right now they're looking at dropping a 9.65 if Emerson Adams can finish strong in this rotation.
Not bad at all. Lots of twisting in this floor routine. That was a great second pass.
There goes Adams for Texas Women's.
Another big Yurchenko full. They get a ton of distance from the table. That's really impressive.
They have not looked the 59th ranked team in the country.
Those beam scores for Kendra are very far apart. One was, I believe, a 9.45 and one was a 9.8, if I saw those correctly.
And they're going to talk about it. We've talked about how there's been a little bit of a gap, but that's more of a gap than what we've seen.
Yeah, I'm thinking that one was different start values. They probably each gave her a little bit different start values, which majorly impact the end score.
Beam's kind of been the slow event in terms of getting scores today anyway, and now we're going to be even more delayed. Yep. Hornan with a 9.85 in front of her, and Dunner with a 9.8. .985 for Emerson Adams on the ball. So once again, Texas Women's doing work through 3 rotations.
It's a big night for them, and I love that they look like they're having so much fun tonight.
So while we have a moment here, we'll kind of update you on the leaders. Kiana Lewis is leading the vault still for West Virginia. 9.85 is the event leader right now. 3-way tie on bars, all Mountaineers. Brooke Albin, Kiana Yancey, Kendra Combs with a 9.875. Madeline Gosset from Texas Women's has set the standard on the beam so far with a 9.875 as it's a 9.65. The score for West Virginia and Combs.
Yeah, they definitely had a lower start value, I think, than a 10.0 start value. We got Kiana Lewis up next on beam for WVU.
So not ideal for West Virginia, but at least you're in a better position than Pitt, where they had to count a fall.
Yes.
Lewis up there for the Mountaineers now.
First pass over on floor for Pitt. Big double tuck. Nice landing. Chest was up perfectly for that lunge.
Jordy Ewing competing for Pitt. Hutchison with a 9.75 in front of her on floor.
Nice split jump for Kiana, and then a split 3/4. Beautiful leap over there on floor. Front toss, right into a back handspring. Amazing series for Kiana. I love how calm she is. In any event that she competes, she looks so calm, cool, collected, and just confident. Gainer off the end of that beam, stuck dismount. Great way to come back.
calm on the beam, big smiles on the floor after that dismount.
For sure. Huge double pike to end that floor routine. That is going to be a big score for Pitt.
Looking to drop a 9.55 are the Panthers, and we've talked about Texas Women's throughout, shattering their season best on the beam. They've now beaten their season best on the vault, a 48.925 to beat a previous best of 48.9.
They are killing it.
But so far, everybody's chasing West Virginia. Mountaineers were on pace for a 196.5 through 2 rotations, with, again, their best one still to come on the floor.
Big night.
Glad you've joined us here on ESPN Plus. My name is Michael Minnick alongside Julia Merwin. We're here at the WVU Coliseum for a tri-meet here. Mountaineers will once again be home a week from Monday. In between, they'll head to Towson for a weekend meet, as you said earlier, Julia, trying to make up for not being able to go to LSU to open the season and then not being able to go to Arkansas because of weather last weekend. So they picked up that meet against the Tigers, a team they've seen already this year. 9.775 is the score on beam for Kiana Lewis.
Got Chloe Asper on beam next.
Coming off a 9.85 at Pitt last Sunday. That was a season best for her. Sophomore from Hanover, Pennsylvania.
A triple series here. Back handspring, layout step out, layout step out. Unfortunately, did fall off the beam.
So now the Mountaineers will be looking to drop that score, and that puts the Combs 9.65 in a position to be counted. Asper also with a 9-0 against Towson in the opening meet, so the second time in 4 meets that she's had a miscue.
Over on floor for Pitt.
Copper Wheat.
Made it to her feet, but very low landing. Kind of landed in that squat from her combo pass, and a stuck landing for Chloe Asper on beam.
Copper Wheat won this event at Pitt on Sunday in the Quan with WVU, NC State, and Alaska Anchorage.
Last pass here, double pike. Great landing for that last one.
So Esperanza Barca, who has competed only on the bars this year for West Virginia, that's about to change. She's on the beam, and I think this is going to be good for her because of what happened on bars, right? Get that bad taste out of your mouth with a good beam rotation here, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. And she has experience on the event. She has plenty of great experience on the event. She has huge scoring potential. She just has to stay calm and do her gymnastics.
Has a podium finish on the beam, has a 9.9 as a career best, so not like she's new to this, as you said. New to it this year, but not new to it in general.
Yes.
Texas Women's has put the marker out at 146.775. They're done with their third rotation. Pitt and West Virginia catching up to them now. And as you see, with West Virginia having to count that fall so far, they're actually in second place right now, but still have a Barca to come to try and knock that 9.125 from Asper out of the equation. Sydney Washington will be the Final Four competitor for Pitt. Mountaineers' final competitor on beam, Barca, hasn't embarked yet.
Nice full turn. Cat leap, side aerial, right into a side summy. Nice series for Esperanza. The unique thing about her, she can actually do 2 completely different series, and it's quite impressive because one is a forward side series, and then one is a backward series.
When is the decision kind of made to which one to go with? Is that something you do in practice? Is it something you do say, okay, well, that looked better in warm-ups, we're going to pick this one?
Unfortunately, she just fell on a backward roll, so that was actually her backward skill. But in terms of your question, you practice both of them, and then her first skill was that side aerial. So if that side aerial went well, she would connect it to the side summy. If she had to just land that side aerial, she would then do her other series. But unfortunately, she ended up falling on that backward roll, so they will have to count one of the scores with a fall.
And then also Copperwheat with a 9-4 on 4 for Pitt, so they're going to have to keep a low score as well. So we talked about that great first rotation for all three of these schools. Texas Women's has been the most consistent team so far, as West Virginia will await the score for Abarca. Pitt trying to tack onto theirs as they wrap up on 4 with Sydney Washington.
Big double pike for that first pass. Front foot came up on that lunge a little bit.
And chances are, with the Mountaineers following a beam, it will be Texas Women's that will lead going into the 4th rotation.
Yes. Getting ready for this next pass.
9-3 the score for Abarca, so that'll actually move WVU score up a little bit because it was better than Asper's. But it won't be enough to catch Texas Women's. They will have the lead going into the 4th rotation for sure.
Good news is WVU ends on floor.
Where they're one of the best in the nation.
Last pass here on floor. Big double tuck. Chest was slightly low on that landing.
Lots of high fives for Sydney Washington, but the Division I teams are having to chase the Division II team today. Texas Women's leading West Virginia and Pitt through 3 rotations. We'll set the stage for the 4th rotation coming up here on Big 12 Now on ESPN+. Stay with us here. We'll be updating scores as well as giving you the leaders when we come back. Welcome back to the WVU Coliseum. Michael Minnick alongside Julia Merwin. And this 4th rotation is going to be very interesting, Julia, because it's Texas Women's in first place over West Virginia and Pitt.
It's definitely exciting. I said I wanted a close meet, and this is a close meet. Good news is WVU is ending on floor.
Well, they are one of the best in the nation, but let's talk a little bit about the beam, especially as it relates to Abby Pearson, the Mountaineers' maybe most consistent gymnast all year. Suffered a concussion at Pitt last week, not competing today. She's usually in that beam rotation. Esperanza Abarca steps in for the first time this year. Her fall is one of the ones that is the one that counts. And that would put WVU in 2nd instead of 1st entering this rotation.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting without Abby because not only is she so consistent, she also is so consistently high scoring. So it is something that they kind of have to miss out on. But good news is she'll be back.
Her worst before today was a 9.675 Abby Pearson. She's had a 9.775, a 9.85, and a 9.875. If you take that out of the equation, you have to count a fall instead. That makes a big difference.
Yes, it does.
And now West Virginia, as you said, Julia, is back to their bread and butter. They were up as high in the nation as 5th on the 4. They're still 13th, an average of 49.269, season best of 49.35. So they've got the heart of their order coming up in this 4th rotation.
For sure. Huge scoring potential here. And we're going to start off with Anna Lee, the freshman.
Meanwhile, Texas Women's trying to protect this lead. They're on their weakest rotation. They're just 64th in the nation on bars.
First routine over there on bars. Big straddle Jaeger. Nice handstand. Right into that shoot over to low. A little bit of leg separation in the air. The line full. Double tuck dismount. Great routine to start off. We got Anna Lee on floor doing a front 2.5 twist. Not many people can do that pass right there. She makes it look super easy. On pit. Yurchenko full. I believe she stayed on her feet on that one. Chest was a little bit low on that landing. Beautiful second pass for Anna Lee over on floor.
The other advantage of being on the floor last is you're going to know what you need. Everybody else is going to be done by the time that you finish.
Yes. Nice leaps. Anna's routine is so impressive because of all of her twisting. I feel like I talk about it every time, but it is surely so impressive. Going into her last pass here. We got a front 1.5 layout step out. Absolutely beautiful. Controlled every single landing in that routine. That should be a huge score. She is the perfect lead off.
Anna Lee, it's a great promotion for WVU coming up for the next home meet. If you are shorter than Anna Lee and she's 4'11", you get in free. But standing tall, leading off the full rotation for West Virginia. So, Pitt obviously can get back in this, but something needs to go wrong. So we're really looking at those scores from West Virginia and Texas Women's here on the fourth and final rotation.
Next routine over on bars. Nice hands down high.
This was Kyla Podges.
Nice straddled Jaeger. Pack down to low bar. Nice pirouette ended right in a handstand. The line full. Double tuck dismount. Big hop back, but you cannot tell that this is their weakest event. They look great.
They look great all night. Again, Division II.
They're killing it. Got Kendra on floor next. She has a big 2-pass routine. First one here is that front tuck through to double pike. Nice lunge. Next vault for Pitt. Got a souk tucked full. A little bit of a sidestep on that landing, but found the landing. Absolutely love Kendra's routine. Take a look at these leaps. So much amplitude. Textbook perfect.
We have not seen any scores, by the way, this fourth rotation, which is interesting to me.
They're trying to keep us on our toes. Kendra getting ready for that last pass. We got a bar routine going on. A little bit close on that toe shoot catch. And Kendra with that double tuck. Beautiful landing. Over on bars, we got a double layout dismount.
I think the energy coming off this Texas women team could power a small factory right now.
I totally agree. I love it.
And again, we've not seen a single score, so we don't know where things stand here in the fourth rotation. We're going to find out with you, I think, the viewers.
Very suspenseful. Oh, look at Kendra's last pass there. Beautiful.
Kiana Lewis will be third for the Mountaineers on the floor.
Vault, we got Halle Copperwheat, Yurchenko full. Nice landing. That was probably their best landing so far.
Rachel Hornan, by the way, was leading the all-around through 3 rotations after Copperwheat beat her last week, beat the field last week.
We're seeing a floor score flashed. 9825 for Kendra. Not sure about Anna Lee's score.
Once we know, we'll tell you.
Kiana Lewis up on floor for the Mountaineers. Shows another 2-pass routine. Starting with that front 1.5, layout, step out, beautiful lunge. Over on bars, we just had a big Tkachev. Nice shoot over down to low bar. Beautiful leaps from Kiana on floor. Great handstand on bars. Blind full into that double back dismount with a great landing. Texas Women's is having themselves a night.
9.775 is the score on floor for West Virginia. And Kendra Combs. That's the only score we've seen.
I think that was the vault score, actually. Kendra's was the 9.825, I believe.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Good call.
That was Hallie's vault score. Kiana getting ready for her last pass. And once again, just a calm, cool, collected routine. So much confidence out of Kiana. Vaulter for Pitt, Yurchenko full. That was a beautiful vault. Big double tuck, perfect landing for Kiana. Went right into that controlled lunge. Should be another big score if we can hopefully see it.
Katie Chamberlain was the vaulter for Pitt with a great finish.
Try to keep an eye on the scoreboard. Next, Texas women's competitors up on bars. A little bit short on that first handstand. Going into a straddle Jaeger. Perfect distance from the bar for that catch. Nice handstand. Shoot over, back up to high bar. And that was a 9.8 on vault for Pitt.
So the Panthers finishing strong on their last rotation.
Big.
Once again, Texas Women's. Just stacking scores again. They're going to make it hard for West Virginia to make up that ground.
They really are. They're having such a good night.
And again, we'll tell you how good of a night once we know.
Another big Yurchenko full from Pitt. That was a great vault. We got Kiana Yancey up on floor next. That was a 9.825 for Kiana Lewis.
So West Virginia's doing their part on floor so far, their best event.
First pass here for Kiana. Big double pike. We have a 9.6 flashing over on bars.
So that's big. It might open the door for West Virginia to rally here.
I saw a 9.2 earlier. I'm not sure which gymnast it was. I just remember seeing that flash.
Again, the lead was 0.15 for Texas Women's over West Virginia entering this rotation.
Nice combo pass from Kiana right into that jump.
Another fall on the bars from Texas Women's. So we talked about it. This is their weakest rotation. West Virginia's best. Could be the difference in this meet.
And then we have a 9.825 on the vault for Pitt. Got to keep an eye on the scoreboards now. Kiana getting ready for her last pass here. Big double tuck right into that lunge. Nice routine for Kiana. Back over to the vault. Another Yurchenko full. A little bit of soft knees in the air, but huge height and amplitude. And then a great dismount to kind of recover from that bar routine.
Sydney Washington competing for Pitt. One vaulter to go for the Panthers. That's Sierra Ward. And then Pitt's day will be done here at the Coliseum.
I think that may have been Sierra Ward on vault that just went. Not 100% sure.
You're right. Pitt's packing it up, so we'll have a final score for them hopefully soon. 9-7-5 for Ward in that anchor position for the Panthers. And we're starting to get scores now. A 9-8-5 for Lee to lead off for West Virginia on the floor.
We got Rachel Hornung up next on floor.
9-8-2-5 for Lewis, officially posted. Scores you're seeing on the bottom corner right now are the scores as of the end of the last rotation. Rachel Hornan.
And they're flashing, I thought they were flashing County Yancey's score. Starts with that wolf turn to add some difficulty. Round off by handspring double pike. Stayed in bounds, a great little lunge. Right into the second pass. A round off back 1.5 front layout. Beautiful stuck landing. Nice switch ring, switch side for Rachel.
Pitt's vault scores are in. They'll finish with a 194.725. Excuse me, 194.675, their final score.
Rachel getting ready for her last pass here. Round off 1.5 front pike. Beautiful, very controlled. Going to be another big score. Very excited about that one.
So Pitt's scores are all in. West Virginia's being filled in right now. A 9-2-7-5 for Texas Women's. Their best score so far on bars has been a 9-6-7-5. So West Virginia's really making up a lot of ground on the floor right now.
Another look at Rachel's double pike. Beautiful. Another look at that second pass. So controlled on that landing out of that layout. We got Emily Holmes-Hackard for her season debut. She has done floor before, tons of experience. This is her first time competing it this season.
Career best is a 9-9 on the floor for Holmes-Hackard.
Yeah, huge potential here. She's very elegant on floor.
By the way, an 8-8-2-5, the final score for Texas Women's on bars. So we'll have their final score here in just a minute. We know what West Virginia has to do to pass it. .5 is what's being shown for Texas Women's, which would put them behind Pitt as of right now.
Kiana Yancey's floor score came in at a 9-8-7-5.
Working on Rachel Hornan's score right now. It's about to be shown. 9-7-2-5, which would be the Mountaineers' lowest entering Holmes-Hackard's routine.
I think Emily is so fun to watch because she's so powerful, but like I said, so elegant. And they do a great job kind of matching this music and choreography to her. First pass here. Front 1.5, into a layout, into that stag jump. So unique and beautiful.
We talked about Texas women's variety of music and routine. This certainly applies for West Virginia.
Oh, for sure. Each of the routines matches their personalities so well.
So this rotation, already 13th in the nation, you add Holmes Hackard in, who's a talent. This could be even more upside when you get Abby Pearson back too.
Oh, I totally agree. This is huge having her back in the lineup.
Pearson missing today due to a concussion.
Beautiful leaps from Emily. Perfect 180 splits. Getting ready for this last pass. Big double pike, great landing. Chest was up right into that lunge. Oh, this is huge. I am so excited for Em. That was a great way to finish out that floor rotation. A great way to debut her floor routine for the season.
So we'll wait on her score, but it looks like West Virginia has done enough to win this meet today. Coming back
agree.
After losing that lead after the third rotation due to some issues on the beam.
Totally agree.
But again, bar struggles aside, gotta give a lot of credit to Texas Women's. A great performance from them on the beam, on the floor, on the vault. Just had a little bit of a stumble on the bars to get the lead back to West Virginia.
Totally agree. There was another look at Emily's first pass, and here's another look at that second pass, that big double pike. So much power.
Again, we're waiting the Holmes Hackard score, but we can tell you the winners on the other three events. Kiana Lewis for West Virginia with a 9.85 wins the vault. Kendra Combs, actually, let me go back. The vault's a tie, 9.85. Kiana Lewis for West Virginia. Emerson Adams anchoring for Texas Women's. On the bars, Mountaineers sweep. 3 9.875s from Kendra Combs, Brooke Albin, Kiana Yancey, all after Esperanza Abarca had a fall to start with. So a really big step up for the Mountaineers in that rotation. Beam winner was Madeline Gosset for Texas Women's, a 9.875, just edging out Rachel Hornan and Haley Copperwheat. They both had 9.85s, and we're waiting Holmes Hackard's score on the floor. Gosset had the lead with a 9.875 before West Virginia competed.
I believe Kiana Yancey tied that with a 9.875,
Yep.
and then Emily Holmes Hackard just got a 9.85.
So West Virginia not quite with the 196 they were searching for. They dropped some points on the beam, but a 195.8 for the Mountaineers is just short of their season best.
Yeah, and you can tell they have so much potential. It's the little things like the backward roll and just little steps on landings. They definitely have huge scoring potential. They will get that 196 this season.
So as we said earlier, the Mountaineers will pick up a meet and compete next weekend at Towson before returning back to the Coliseum. They will be home on February the 21st as William and Mary and George Washington come to the Coliseum. It'll be Ursinus College in Towson at Towson on that Saturday, the 19th before that. So a weekend off for the Mountaineers. They get the win today. Julia, what are your final thoughts on this one for West Virginia?
I thought that was a great meet. I mean, honestly, obviously, Beam had its little hiccups, and bars started out rocky, but the other 5 competitors did a great job showing up, getting those routines done, and doing their best. That was one of the best bar rotations I have ever seen them do, and I think it was huge coming off of a fall to be able to do that. And then they brought it home on floor like always. I mean, they always bring that Mountaineer show. And like you said before, Texas women, that was such an impressive meet for them.
So for Julia Merwin, I'm Michael Minnick saying so long from the WVU Coliseum. The final score, West Virginia wins tonight on their home mats, 195.8. Pitt in second with a 194.575. Texas Women's, after leading after 3 rotations, struggles on the bars. They finish a close third, 194.5. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN. Good night from Morgantown.
By the University of Pittsburgh. And in first place with the score of 195.8, your West Virginia Mountaineers. On behalf of the WVU gymnastics team, thank you.